All right, welcome back for week 16. Quick recap from last week. Another headline for Jamie. Spreadsheet is broken. He is going to move up to 7 picks on the game side. He's actually going to have, I think it is, if my notes are correct, 11 picks today, or no, 10 picks today, which is kind of a lot. If you think that, I only have 26 wins, if you won all 10 of them, you'd have like half as many wins as I got in 1 week. But just as a kind of a summary, Jamie's winning with 52 wins. Stone second place with 39, and then I am very far behind. Jamie has twice as many wins as I have. I have 26. He has 52. So, yeah. Anyway, Jamie, I'll pass it over to you. Any initial comments?
Merry Christmas for all of our loyal listeners. I know you guys are there.
Yeah.
It's tough being in the lead this long, so I'm just looking for a competitive end of the season. I've had a lot of fun this year. Gonna have a lot of fun this week with a lot of picks.
Stone, how about yourself?
I've had a couple rough weeks. I've been under 500 in my picks the past few weeks. I feel like I had a chance to get Jamie there for a while, but kind of been throwing it. So trying to finish strong. We'll see how it goes. But yeah.
Yeah, so I love my picks. I love my board this week. There's only 4 of them, so it's not. I guess you can find 4 that you love. But Merry Christmas. For Christmas, everyone's getting some winning picks. That's what's happening. Everyone's Christmas gift is that. And with that, let's transition into opening your presents. Let's go. All right, who wants to go first?
All right, I'll go first.
All right.
While he's doing that, we'd like to thank Connor for sending these presents because he is the Santa of the group this year. Maybe we'll rotate or something.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be a surprise. I think
Oh, okay. It's the
Jamie beat.
Jamie was already wearing it, but
Yeah.
the playbook on my
So that
arm.
one is so you guys could write each other's picks down and then have them with you at all times.
Yep. Next
Oh
week
man.
I'll put it on my arm for next week for sure.
Yeah. Quarterback sleeve. They didn't give me a sleeve because you have to win games to get a sleeve. You got to make good play. And then yeah, and then the other one's actually that one was more of a gag gift. The other one should help you out with your guys' let's say ambiance. We'll call it.
Oh, nice.
Woo!
I'm assuming this is probably something similar to that.
Yeah, something similar. So
I need to I'm pretty boring back.
I got like all my shit hung up like to my left, so like I have to
yeah.
maybe for next season I'll have to adjust my room a
Gotta
little
work.
bit.
All
Connor's
right, so we got 2 mini helmets for the Jags and the Commanders.
Hell yeah.
So that'll help for our season next year when we I'm not saying it's got to be like this, but it'll help.
Yeah, the Jags are blowing it this year. It seems
Yeah,
like,
they seem to be one of the fakers.
but at least they are still in playoff contention like some other teams that
Oh yeah.
It's their schedule, man. They don't have to do it the year. They play just a terrible schedule, so when they play someone good, they look bad.
Yeah. And then
I
the
think in the
Colts and
beginning,
the Texans are knocking on the door too. But
that's what I was going to say. From the beginning of the season, we're like, oh, this team's going to win 10, 11, 12 games because their division's so bad. They might not even win the division.
yep, division is
That's one,
better than advertised for sure.
I think that's one of my futures if their wins, but we'll see.
Yeah. So now that we got the gifts taken care of for us, let's start giving out gifts to everyone else. So I'll click over here to week 16. We'll do the game side first. This is some of the most game picks we've had all season. Jamie has 3, then Stone has 4, and then I only have 2. Last week we went 11-9, which was a 1.5 over units. I think that was 2 winning weeks in a row. Going to try to roll this into 3 in a row. But
Jamie's
Jamie,
carrying
whenever you're
us.
ready.
Jamie's carrying
Yeah,
us a little
Jamie's
harder than
carrying it
that.
well.
I would
He's got
say you said we're giving out presents to our viewers. I think we're giving out Cole based on some of our picks this season. But maybe Christmas we can turn it around.
You're right. I just need to get. I need to. What my vision is get my units. I'm not going to get a winning record, but if I get close enough to get like hot next year, and like have like overall winning record after 2 years, or like a good record after 2 years, that would make me happy. That's what I'm going for.
I would focus
Anyway.
on and maybe at the very last week of the season go for the units, but
Well,
because
I'm
if
so
you
far behind.
lose, you're just digging yourself a bigger hole. You know, the units
True.
the harder bet to make. But I digress. Who's first?
All right, Jamie, you're first this week. You got 3 picks. I think you guys. Wait a second. That shouldn't. That doesn't make sense. Let me check something.
Check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Stone had 3 picks last week, but went 2-1. You went 2-0. You had more units.
Yep.
So Jamie's first, Stone second. All right. Good to go.
So for my first pick, I'm going to go with Buffalo minus 12, taking the big line at minus 110 versus the Chargers.
Mhm.
You just saw the Chargers get completely destroyed by Las Vegas. Buffalo just destroyed Dallas. I think this is a pretty, easy bet. I don't know. We'll see. I just like they run the ball, make this one an easy win, get out of there.
Yeah.
Up a couple, 3 touchdowns.
One thing I will say, like I feel like the Chargers completely gave up on their last coach, and they were putting no fight out there at all. And I think maybe with the new coach, they'll try and put some fight out there, put some stats out there, put some film out there for whoever's taking over next season. But Chargers are really bad without Herbert. It just makes Herbert look even better. Now that he's out, how he was carrying that terrible team.
Yeah, I don't know. 12 is a lot, but I certainly would take 12 on the Chargers on this game. And Bills are hot. Bills got hot. You could have got them positive money the last 2 weeks before the game to make the playoffs, and now it looks like they're with a win this week are really going to be not just in the picture but in the fold. So good.
All right. For my next one, I talked about this with Connor a little bit, but the Cowboys are fake. Talked about it on the podcast. I picked Buffalo. I think it was minus 2.5 or whatever last week. They're beating up on the terrible teams. I don't think they're actually that good, and I think Miami at home minus 2 for minus 110. I like that pick a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of my picks. I
Oh, nice.
get picked first, so I completely agree. There's a little question with the Dolphins' offensive line being unhealthy this week, but even still, I just don't think the Dallas matches up against them. Miami has good defense, and I think they're at home. Like Stone said, they're fake.
It is crazy how fake. It's almost like, when you spend all your game time watching the Commanders and the Falcons and some of these like absolutely garbage teams, you kind of convince yourself what good team looks like, and then you watch like an actually good team, you're like, we're not even close to that. We're not even.
One more
anyway,
thing, forgot to. The Cowboys' left tackle looks like he's going to be out, and when he's out, Dak has been horrible. Something on the player prop side might be able. If you guys are betting any Cowboys, I would shy away.
I'll keep that in my notes. So the first pick that I have is a love. If I had a game of the year to give out, I'd give it out, but I don't have any more left. Yeah, I don't have any more bullets in that gun. So with that, I'm going to take the Bengals team total over 20.5, and that is at plus 105. So positive money. They're playing the Steelers. The Steelers have given up an average of 25 points per game in their last 3 to the Panthers, the Patriots, and the Colts. And the Bengals, the last 3 games, have been averaging 31 points per game. And the team total for this, I don't know if it's because it's a short week or because they're playing today on Saturday, but 20.5 for a team that's given up 25 to terrible teams and then also scoring 30 a game just feels like stealing money to me. But anyway, that's my first pick.
Vegas it's definitely because it's a division game. Any division game, the spread and the points. But yeah, I think talk about giving up. I think Pittsburgh is very close to giving up.
Mm-hmm. This Pittsburgh team, I don't know, just growing up from where we grew up from, lots of Pittsburgh fans. And I just remember teams that would like just always grind it out and always give 100% no matter what. Like guys like Hines Ward and some of these guys you could just think of or just would just like, bulldog you all the way down. And then seeing week after week, Steelers wide receivers and players give up on plays or not even try. I'm like, this isn't that. That's not that. Anyway, kind of crazy to think about. All right, Jamie, back to you.
So like I said, Boone cite my second pick. So I'm going to go with the Bears -4, 15 versus the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the Cardinals can't stop anyone. And surprisingly, since Montez Sweat came over to the Bears defense is 5th in the league. That hurts Commanders fans. But they got a good defense, and what do the Bears want to do? At least what does Justin Fields want to do? Run the ball. Cardinals want to rush defenses. I mean, this is just playing into all the Bears' strengths. So -4, I don't feel bad laying more than a field goal here. Yeah.
The Bears have a pretty lax schedule coming in for the last 3. Before last week, I took them to make the playoffs. It was a stretch. It was plus 1,500. Maybe it was plus 1,400. Either way, a big number. Then losing to the way they did last week, it boosted up to plus 200 and 2,500. I'm not saying lay it, but I'm saying this is a team that could pick up 3 wins rolling in. They don't play very challenging teams. And then they'll be like in the mix. But of course, every time you think that about the Bears, they will let you down just like last week. So, Stone, your turn.
All right, I've bet on this team the past 3 weeks in a row, but for overs. And I'm 3-0 on that. But this time I'm going to take the spread, Indianapolis plus 2.5 at -105. Just with how good the Colts have been, I was kind of shocked that they're the underdogs here. I guess it's in Atlanta, but the Falcons are just terrible, man. I hate the Falcons so much. Just the way they play. They couldn't beat the terrible Panthers last week. Their first round running back didn't get enough touches last week. Yeah, he fumbled, but you still got to give that dude the ball, and you got to take the ball out of Desmond Ridder's hands. And I think the Colts are on a roll, and they're fighting for that division and trying to get a playoff spot. So.
Well, 2 points there is apparently Bijan was sick, and that is why the reps and they fined the Falcons $100K for not disclosing the illness, and now there's talks of a class action lawsuit because of bettors betting on Bijan not knowing about this. Now we're in the age of DraftKings and legalized betting. It's open the NFL to a whole bunch of suits. Whether that suit actually goes through or not, that's a different question. But also, I think there's talk of Heineke playing this week instead of Ridder. Something to consider. But what do we say on this pod? Fade the Falcons, man. Don't bet on it.
I can't believe they were favorites, honestly. But I get maybe Heineke comes in and can actually do something, but.
Yeah, the Bijan thing is crazy. He had one more touch than Patterson, and he had half as many as Algier. If there was an injury, they should have said something. That's the second time they've done this year. This is a generic thing about the Falcons. I think the quickest way, and generally across like your whole life, is to like lose leadership or lose faith. If people lose faith in your leadership, is to have 2 different sets of standards for 2 different people. And I wrote this huge article just for fun the other day because I was so mad at the Falcons. And that was the Mariota and Ritter have played 13 games from last year to this year. Mariota would be better than him at yards per pass, touchdowns, fewer interceptions, 4 times as many rushing yards, less fumbles lost, more points per game, more yards per game, higher QBR. And the way they just pushed that guy out the building, it was like seemed to be like a very unprofessional. I don't know. The whole situation like stunk when they got rid of Mariota last year for this guy. And this guy, for all intents and purposes, through his 13 games, is playing worse. And the whole point of the article was if they still had Mariota or someone playing at that level, which they cast him aside for, they'd probably be in the playoffs. They'd probably actually win this division because the division is horrible. With that,
but go ahead.
Anyway, I just hate the Atlanta Falcons, and my next pick was actually Indianapolis money line at plus 120. I'll take that. I just think that I don't know. I think that Smith's on the hot seat. Same coaching staff, treating players differently. Heineke is going to come in. I love Heineke, but I would just love to see the Falcons get the doors beat off them and see that place collapse right now. It just after all this, yeah. Anyway,
the only thing I wanted to touch on is you can't compare, a freshly drafted guy to an established quarterback. That's Mariota's peak. They were hoping, which it doesn't look like, but they're hoping Ritter could go past Mariota's peak. That's comparing apples and oranges, but
yeah, but I think if you just like handle it professionally, that guy's still in the building. Like, and then you can turn to him when you need him, and he's a veteran. He could probably help out Ritter better than not a knock on Heineke, but I just thought the whole situation was handled very, very strange. The whole thing when it came out last year was weird, and then when you compare the two totally separate. Yeah. Anyway, never mind. You're right on your part as well.
Those are good points. We digress. So my final pick, and I saved this one for last because I knew no one would pick this. My faith in them is 49ers -6 at -110. There's a lot of talk about the Ravens, potentially covering this or even winning. And, based on everything I've looked up and, I've watched the 49ers a bunch, I just don't see it. I mean, the Ravens beat up on a bad Jacksonville team last week, excuse me. And I just think that's where all this hype is coming from. They've shown some leaks throughout the season. The 49ers have shown strong. They've had a couple bad games. One was when Purdy had a concussion. So they're at home. It's -110. And like I said, I think the Ravens D is not what it seems. And the 49ers can beat you in a lot of ways. So I like the touchdown here.
That's the Sunday night? Is that Monday night?
Monday night.
Monday night. That'd be a nice way to end the holiday, the Christmas day right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think 49ers will probably win. I think it'll be close, which is why it scares me a little bit, but I don't hate it. They can certainly cover a touchdown. All right, I guess the last 2 picks for me. Next one, Green Bay -4 against the Panthers at -110. I mean, the Panthers beat the Falcons last week, but that's not real.
97.
And Green Bay, I think the Green Bay has been they've lost a couple games in a row. They were looking good for a little bit, and then they returned to what they were doing the rest of the season. But I think against the Panthers, they'll bounce back. They have a good coaching staff. Jordan Love has shown flashes here and there, and I think against the Panthers defense, he certainly will look better than some of the past few games. And then my final pick, I guess I'll take the helmet out for
oh, nice
background here, but I'm taking Jack's money line at a +105. The Buccaneers. I don't like the Buccaneers that much this year. I feel like that whole division is really stinky and
they're fake.
Yeah,
fake.
Exactly. They're all terrible, and I like Jacksonville to win this.
It seems like every so often that Baker Mayfield has 2-3 games in a row. Everyone's like, look at him, he's real, he's a world beater, oh my god, and then they put him out against a real team, and he's looks like Baker Mayfield again. I had this. This was my. If I thought someone would take the Colts money line, this was my backup pick. So there goes my honorable mention. But
team now, man.
What's up?
I don't think Jacksonville's a real team. We talked about this at the
I know, but I think they're realer than that whole division is fake, and I would much rather I'd take the Jags money line over anybody in that division.
That's fair. I would just say there's one game he's going to continue looking good. Jacksonville's passing defense is atrocious. Their rushing defense, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
True, but I got to think that one streak's going to end and the other team's going to start playing good. If not, it's going to be a very strange limp into the playoffs here for them. Sweet.
I do have one honorable mention. The past 3 weeks, I have been 3-0 on this line. The Colts over unders. I didn't take it this week just because I think 4 in a row and against the Falcons, I already had the spread, but I think it's 45.5. I think they still hit it, and I'm still probably going to take every Colts game on the over until I start losing.
Yeah, I think they're.
So I've done that 4 separate times this year on this podcast. I've won every single one every time I've taken Colts games for over unders. So
yeah, like we are definitely a podcast of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I wish I had some of those because everything I touch is broken. Actually, go ahead, Jamie.
I was going to say the only honorable mention I had is the Seahawks -3.5. That was going to be my next pick if one of mine got to.
Yeah, I like Indy. I like everything about Indy this week. I actually had their team total on my notes, but it was 21.5, which puts it over 3 touchdowns versus the Bengals, which is at 3 touchdowns. So that's why I went Bengals. But everyone else that I had was you could also take. I had to move this line a little bit just because I'm doing the positive money units thing. Lions -4 against the Vikings. I think there's a route in place. Last time they played in a holiday type scenario, they got blown out by the Packers. I certainly don't think that's going to happen for the Vikings, but that's that. When you only have 2 picks, you don't have a lot to say. And the next one, I won't have anything to say because Jamie gets to talk the whole time. All right. So Jamie's going to be first with 7. I'm second with 2. And then Stone is with 2. So we'll blend in with Jamie for 2 picks, and then he'll get 5 in a row. So whenever you're ready.
I mean, guys, what are we doing here? You know where I'm going. Straight to the running. Yeah. Straight to the running backs. And I'm going to take the very first one against the fake-ass Dallas D. Raheem Mostert over 59.5 rushing yards, -115. I think this is an exceptionally low line. It's probably due to, Miami's offensive line. Most of them are out this week. Some of it's veteran rest. A couple of them actually are hurt. But for the most part, I don't think it's mainly, offensive line has a large part to do with it. I don't want to discredit them, but it's Miami's run plays, how they scheme them up is how they get these guys so many yards. Dallas just gave up 266 last week. They're a small team. They're not built to defend against the run this year. They're just not. They need to generate turnovers. And if you run the ball, protect the ball, Dallas struggles. So I'm going to take that as my very first pick.
That does not seem high enough. That seems like a low number. Let's see what I got here. I actually flipped to the wrong page. Okay, first one I have. This is a love for me. No pun intended. Jordan Love over 1.5 TDs, and that is at +105. He has hit this 4 out of the last 5 games. And even though he doesn't seem like he was very accurate there for a couple, we thought he may turn the corner and then he went kind of inaccurate for a while. He's still putting up these numbers that is going to give him at least the opportunities for this. Last week, I had 3 of these. 2 quarterbacks got 1 got 2, and all of them had a chance to get the second. So 1.5 touchdowns on that. They're playing the Panthers. Panthers played in the torrential downpour rain, and ended up beating the Falcons. But the Falcons still, even when the rain didn't, they could throw the ball. They threw some, they broke some plays off there. So Love over 1.5 touchdowns plus 105. That's my first pick.
All right, I like it. Goes with my previous pick. For my next one, I'm sticking with running backs too. Taking Zeke over 65.5 rushing yards at minus 115. Ramondre Stevenson is still projected to be out, I believe, and Denver is the worst rush defense in the league. So I think if New England, the only thing they can really do is run the ball, and if they're not going to give the ball to Zappy or whatever, but I think Zeke's going to have some good numbers and like 65.5 against the worst rush defense in the league.
Yeah, I think just on a pure attempts to rushing yards, I mean, even if he averaged 3 yards an attempt, I think he gets like 18 attempts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I looked at this. Only reason I didn't take it is the questionable about Ramondre. I don't know why they would even attempt to play Ramondre. They have nothing to play for. Rest, come back healthy next year, but there was some question. So
maybe some contract bonus or something.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he had a high ankle sprain though. High ankle sprains are so tough for running backs.
Yeah.
Even if they do come back, they're usually the first game or two they're not 100%. So I'm not too worried about it.
All right, Jamie, what's your second pick?
More running backs, baby. DeAndre over 66.5 rushing yards at minus 115. Again,
DeAndre Swift.
Yep.
Okay, sweet.
66.5 at minus 115. Again,
yep.
I think this is another low line. I don't know I can't figure out why. New York is one of the bottom 5 teams against the run. DeAndre just had 78 last week. The attempts are going to be there. I really think they're going to kill the Giants. They have to come back. They've had a terrible month. The Eagles have. They need to come out strong, win this game, get back on track. So, part of that is going to be running the ball against a terrible rushing defense.
Yeah, I looked at this line too, and I like it. I like picking against the bottom 5 rushing defenses. It's tends to be good odds on that.
Yeah, it would be nice for the Eagles to get an easy game as well. Something that feels like every week they got the most important game of the week, and everyone's talking about them. But big favorites against the Giants this week. So my last pick of the group, first time I'm going to go with this category, has been on this side, and that is ETN touchdown plus 105. I do think Jacksonville is going to come out and look very competitive. I think they could win the game. I thought the Packers would win the game last week against Tampa Bay, but it seemed like Tampa Bay hit some serious plays down the stretch. Tampa Bay doesn't give up a ton of rushing touchdowns, but ETN only has 1 passing or receiving touchdown on the year. I think he's in play on both sides. They give up more passing than rushing, and I think he could absolutely hit that. He's getting about 4 or 5 targets a game. So I'm going ETN touchdown, especially with Lawrence, who's in the concussion protocol and everything. If he doesn't get cleared, which I know it seems like he probably will just based off his practice schedule, but I'm looking ETN touchdown plus 105.
I don't like this pick.
You don't like this pick?
Tampa has one of the best rushing defenses. 2 weeks ago, they were at the 1-yard line. He went 3 straight times, couldn't get in. He's not a big back to get in. So you're purely relying on a receiving touchdown in my eyes. And at 105 or whatever, that is not good odds for a pure receiving touchdown by ETN. I don't like it.
Every time we rag on Connor for his pick, he ends up hitting it. So that's all I'm going to say.
Most of them don't hit, so I mean, this could fit in with that one. I haven't gone this category before. Didn't like the Jacksonville line. I thought they should have been favorites or like better. And I don't think anyone else is really a threat on the team to score a touchdown. They got screwed last week with one of their touchdowns being called off the board. But Yeah, I could look back. This could be a bad one. My honorable mention that I left off is one that I really like as well, but I'll pass it over to Stone for his second pick.
All right. I've been doing pretty good in this category. Last week I hit it, but the Giants give up the most sacks in the league, and I'm gonna take Josh Sweat over .25 at -110. I was looking at the Eagles sack leader is Hassan Reddick, but his odds were like 1.25 for like point plus like 160 or something. I'll just take Sweat. I still like those odds. He's their number 2 sack leader with I think 6.5 or something. And the Giants give up several sacks a game, and I think .25. I love the .25 sack line because it's just you get a half sack or something and you're on the board.
I like it.
Yep. This is something I looked at. I looked at the 0.5 line because, like you said, 6.5. I think he had 11.5 last year, so they're looking for him to get back on track. So I think, like you said.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just said, like you said, they give up a lot of sacks.
Yep.
Good.
And just to update on Rhamondre Stevenson, he's ruled out this week. So.
Nice. Dang, it's like wait. Did we just break news?
No. I just looked at the injury report and saw he's ruled out. So.
All right, Jamie. This is where you put the dagger in and you twist it. So
am I free and clear now to just
you're free and clear to just go ham right now. This is a Jamie hour or the minute, however you want to look at it.
I have like a special going on here. Justin Jefferson, just like the whole thing, over 83.5 receiving yards. That's at -115.
Mm-hmm.
And let me get the over on his receptions at 6.5 receptions.
Dang.
At -120. It's a lot, but let me get into this. Detroit is against number 1 wide receivers. They double number 1 wide receivers at the lowest rate in the NFL. Just anything against number 1s, they just allow it. I don't know why their defense does. I mean, they're obviously winning a bunch of games, so there's something to be said regarding the scheme, but it plays into a player prop. So, Nick Mullins looked at him 10 times last week. He had 7 receptions. I think Detroit also allows a 76% catch rate for number 1. So I think he's going to have a huge game. I think this is going to be a shootout. Detroit can put some pressure on Minnesota by scoring a lot, making them throw a lot. And, I kind of like basically all the Vikings. I'll give an honorable mention to Hawkinson and Addison here, but I'm not going to take either of those. I like Jefferson. He's also on my fantasy team. So. Need him to have big in the. Moving on, I'm going to also take David Njoku over 49.5 receiving yards. That's at -125.
That's a lot for tight end.
It is. He has a 21% target share since week 13. He's averaging 71 yards a game with Flacco. The Texans allow the 4th most receiving yards to a tight end at 59 yards a game. So this is a good convergence here. I think something about Baltimore, they just love their tight ends. That got instilled in Flacco, and now it's in Lamar. So I like that. What does that get me to? 5. Brock Purdy, over 252.5 passing yards. And I got some really good stats here. That's at -115. At home, Brock Purdy's passing yards are 310, 283, 252, 365, 333, and 368. If there's one thing the Baltimore will give up, it will be the pass. If they stop McCaffrey, he's going to be slinging this thing. And he's at home. He's going to be comfortable.
I don't think anyone can stop McCaffrey, but...
His line, I looked at McCaffrey because it's running back. His line was still at 84, and I don't think he'd be stopped either. But 80 against this Baltimore defense is asking a lot. You're 85, almost 90. So for the last one, I'm going to go with Chuba Hubbard over 73.5 rushing yards. This might seem ridiculous.
That does seem very high.
That seems absurd.
Wait till I drop some stats on you. That's 115. Green Bay is a bottom 3 rush defense, and Devondre Campbell's out. The yards per game allowed per rush goes from 4.1 to 4.7 when Devondre Campbell, the middle linebacker for Green Bay, is out. Chuba has had 20-plus rushing yards in each of the last 3 games, and one of those games was versus the Saints where they're getting blown out by 20-plus points. He had 23 carries that game. They are protecting the quarterback. They're going to rush him, and I think just it's a math problem. If he gets 20-plus carries at 4.7 yards per carry, he's going to get the over. But, I mean, they're going to give him the attempts, whether they're losing or not. This is just a weird thing. Even if they're getting blown out, I think he gets it. But, I think they can keep it a little close, at least in the first half, and pile up the yardage. And that's it.
All right. I mean, that's a lot. You're throwing up seven player props this week, laying minus 8.2 units. I'm excited to see what comes from that. I mean, 2 of them seem like they'll kind of go hand in hand. They're the same player, but yeah, if you break the spreadsheet again, if I have to come back in here and fix it to add 8 picks to that category, which I thought was like a mathematical anomaly. That's all I got to say about that.
I go one way or another with 7 picks. I either lose it or I win it. With 6, I could stay even. I had one honorable mention.
Nice.
I'm glad you guys didn't snipe any picks. These last couple of weeks, I've been very worried because I do not and look up something. It was just Rachaad White, his over rush yards. I mean, he's at 71.5. He had 89 last week. He's at 80 plus in 5 straight. The Ravens just put up 251 on this team, so that's an honorable mention. That's who I would have gone to.
I don't really have an honorable mention we're talking about. I have a couple kind of stretches for players I like that I was going to try to get in here if someone sniped one of mine. But Stone, do you have anything?
I liked Pacheco's rushing line. I think it was like mid 60s. They look a lot better when Pacheco is running the ball. And I think against the Raiders, they'll try and run the ball a little bit more just because they have no receivers to throw to. Kelsey looks like he's a little slower this year. So, but that's all I got.
They have wide receivers, they just don't catch the ball.
Well, yeah.
Also true. All right,
they tip the ball and give it to the other team. Is what happens.
Yeah, even worse than not catching it.
Yeah. The best case scenario is if they throw the ball at Tony, if he drops it and it hits the ground, is what you're hoping for.
What they do is throw it to Kelsey, have Kelsey lateral to Tony, and then
that was their best play of the season, and that didn't count.
Yep. Yeah, if Tony catches the ball, he either like flicks it up in the air and the other team's getting it, or he catches it and fumbles it. So like, just don't even throw to him. Like.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that play. I mean, I don't think they're like world beaters like they have been the last couple of years. I think this is the year for them to get bounced. And then it'll be interesting to see what they do with that wide receivers room in the off season. They've kind of taken this to its extreme, but I could see some like disgruntled wide receivers on other teams being like, yeah, I'll do a 1-year proof of deal with Patrick Mahomes, and like that immediately gets fixed.
Yeah,
but
I think they should sign T. Higgins next year. I think that would be a huge signing for them.
If they sign someone like T. Higgins and then like Jerry Jeudy, who are both, those guys maybe will ask for more money because there's not a lot of not as many great wide receiver free agents as there has been. That changes everything for them. Yeah.
You're Tyreek Hill, though. You're walking like this, right? You're going, man, since I left.
I mean, they did win a Super Bowl, but.
Hey,
I'll give you that. But this year,
I think Tyreek's walking like that no matter what happens. I think he just stays walking like that. All right. So let's go over to the touchdown parlay. We've been taking our time on this week's episode. So who wants to go first on the touchdown parlay?
I'll go first just so I don't get sniped.
Sweet.
James Cook
Oh my God.
at minus 115. I'm surprised he hasn't been taken yet, and he's been on fire.
Me.
So
Oh my!
What did you get for that?
minus 115.
Okay, mine was at minus 110, but I'll put 15 here. All right, I can't go next because that was mine. I should have thought of that. I thought that one was weird that it wasn't picked.
All talk, long-winded.
Okay.
No, I got Chuba because I know he's not on the board either, right?
I don't think so.
No. And I looked that one up when you were talking about him. I was like, he's gonna pick him. I looked his up too.
Chuba was plus 100, so even on a Chuba TD, so leading into all those numbers I talked about where he's rushing, even when they are losing. Not very common in today's NFL. Anyways, got a really nice Christmas sweater.
Dang it. You guys snipe. It's killing me.
I will say Diggs hasn't been picked yet. I was looking at him.
Diggs he needs a bounce back game really bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in this direction because I think this team scores points. I'm gonna go T Higgins. I don't think Higgins is up there. Higgins chases out. He's a big target. And that number is plus 180.
Ooh,
and yeah, so sitting at that line right there, sitting at plus 947, plus 950 basically. We have been pretty cold on this. We haven't hit it since week 6. This would be a nice, even better Christmas gift if we could hit this. Last week was the first time since week 3 we didn't have any touchdown picks, but each week it gets harder and harder. But we're only 2 weeks away from being in negative units on this. So if we can get one more, that'll carry us through the rest of the season, and we'll be positive on that as a high note. Does anybody have anything else they want to add before we close shop for the week?
Well, yeah, the touchdown thing it's diminishing returns. The first couple weeks you're getting the guys that score a touchdown no matter what. Christian McCaffrey, these running backs that are getting into the end zone. We're getting to the end of the year where you're scraping not even number one wide receivers. I mean, Diggs is still out there that we might take next week, but man, and if you like Chuba for your parlay, I mean, we're getting there.
Yeah.
I think is Justin Jefferson still out there? I don't see him.
No, I think he's available. He's been injured
still out there too. I mean, there's still some guys like.
There's definitely guys. I mean, I couldn't believe James Cook wasn't picked yet when I looked at it. I mean, of course, when you go for like 100, 200 yards, your name pops up a little bit quicker than normal. But yeah. Stone, anything else to
Williams
add?
Isn't on there, I don't think. Oh yeah, he is. Never mind.
I think he is. Yeah, recently.
Right. I picked the.
Yeah.
It's
Jamal. Jamie had a big week for Williams very recently. All right. Well, with that, thanks for joining us. Gamble responsibly. Have a nice holiday break. And yeah, thanks for joining us.